Today we are going to be breaking down Evgenia Medvedeva and Laysan Utyasheva's interview. We've kind of done a series on this channel breaking down all of Laysan Utyasheva's interview with different figure skaters and rhythmic gymnasts. This is a very light-hearted, cooking, informal interview, which really shows the in-depth, not only about the figure skater, but also about their personal life. And Evgenia opens up completely what's happening in her life. As of now, this is the moment where she was questioning her return to figure skating competitively. She's doing lots of shows and is going to university and just trying out everything in order to fit the role as a creative producer. The interview starts off with talking about weight and how in rhythmic gymnastics they're always penalized for their weight. They always have to look a certain amount of kilograms, whereas in figure skating it's not as strict. Even though Evgenia Medvedeva says that it isn't as strict and they don't heavily emphasize on the weight, but it's still an important subject on what kind of foods you have to eat. But also during competitions such as World Championships or Olympics, they are really strict on the weight and you have to eat only certain foods and being certain amount of kilograms.
Завидовали такой, знаешь, доброй завистью фигуристкам, потому что вас не так гоняли по весу все-таки, как нас.
Смотря перед какими стартами просто...
Нам не важно, нас просто гоняли за вес.
Ну, да, на постоянной основе такого не было, да, то есть как бы мы могли сесть нормально покушать, конечно, но вопрос питания все равно был всегда открыт, в особенности перед чемпионатами мира и перед Олимпиадой, конечно, ну, было прям жестко, да, то есть было тяжело, но это дало, естественно, свои плоды, и как бы оно сработало, понятно, было тяжело, понятное дело, но оно того стоило.
Можешь меню рассказать, вот, например, завтрак?
Ну, перед чемпионатом мира у меня всегда в завтрак входил чай, и это либо какая-нибудь гречка, это обязательно какие-то углеводы. Обед, ну, между тренировками там тоже как-то не особо, там всего пару часов, там, чтобы переварить, успеть. Ну, тоже какие-то там котлетки.
А супчик?
Котлеты, супчик какой-нибудь. Но на ужина в основном не было. Вот. Либо это салат, либо это какой-то фрукт, либо что-то. А перед Олимпиадой я, даже рассказываю.
Then Laysan says, what is the menu for you during tough competition seasons, like, for example, the World Championships and the Olympics? What are you eating mostly? And Evgenia Medvedeva says that she usually for breakfast has like tea or some sort of carbohydrate to keep her going. For lunch, it can be soup or it can be some sort of meat, which is for protein, and in between the snacks, maybe some chocolate for sugar, but dinner she tries not to eat completely, or if she's too hungry, she can have a salad and some sort of fruit. As of now, she skated in about 48 shows this past summer, and that is her main focus. She's trying to work creatively in different shows and different performances. As of now, she's also doing ice dancing, and she has a partner that is a non-dancer, so she's being the professional and the non-dancer is skating together, so they're doing programs together. Her partner on ice and on dance was a TikTok dancer, and she didn't really think much of him. She actually thought it would be really hard for him to learn to skate because he's really skinny, he's very like weak in a way, and she was having doubts, but he actually proved himself right. He also did some ice hockey, so that gave him some experience on the ice, but still ice skating and hockey are completely two different sports. When they are on ice, they don't actually try and look for other pairs and compare each other because the schedule for trainings are very tight and you have to learn quick moves, especially a person that hasn't skated before needs to learn how to skate actually, so that takes a lot.
Чем сейчас ты дышишь? Чем сейчас твоя головушка светлая занята? Какими мыслями, планами, проектами?
Чем занята моя голова? Сейчас вот мы закончили спектакли в Сочи. Спектакль Анна Каренина. Мы откатали 48 шоу. Я там впервые встала в пару. То есть сначала моя голова была забита именно тем, что как бы научиться-то делать сложные элементы в паре за там пару месяцев. Вот. В принципе, мы с Сашей Энбертом очень-очень хорошо справились. Он меня всему научил.
А не думала вот взять и вот такая вот первая фигуристка, звезда личного катания, уйти еще и в дуэтную тему?
Ну, это было бы, безусловно, интересно.
Для всех, для всего мира.
Всех, да. Но как бы всем было бы весело, но не мне.
At that point, she says that the reason why she doesn't want to go into competitive skating is because of the injuries. She has a lot of injuries, and when she would be doing competitive skating, it would cause even more severe injuries. As of now, she's really just focusing on the shows, and if she was to do competitive skating, she would have not been in a lot of shows. But that way, that gives her opportunity to be involved in any show possible and really to wow the audience, give back. She loves to be creative. There's no sort of pressure apart from like points. She doesn't look at the judges. She can just do it whatever she really likes. She can focus on figure skating and she's on the ice.
Я правильно тебя поняла? Ну, то есть шоу у Авербуха, шоу сейчас на Первом канале, что ты, ну, немножко подзавязала с карьерой уже все. Нам тебя не ждать.
В этот сезон как бы 100% нет. Я для себя уже решила, что, наверное, вообще не стоит даже пытаться в этом сезоне, потому что в тысячемиллионный раз говорить про травмы как-то сейчас особо не хочется, да, но как бы главную роль играют они в моем решении. Вот.
Ну, заявлять, что ты ушла, пока нет. Просто этот сезон пока пропустишь, да?
Просто как сказать, по опыту других людей, да, то есть сколько я на своем веку уже видела людей, которые, ну, вот у меня на глазах заканчивали спорт, и когда они заявляли об этом, это был какой-то просто вселенский траур, да, и, наверное, это у людей очень сильно в голове идет большое разделение, да, то есть вот я заканчиваю спортивную карьеру, и все человека провожают как вот на похоронах. И вот начинается это, ой, вот это вот так жалко, вот она ушла от нас, как будто бы, ну серьезно, это как будто бы я из жизни ухожу, да?
She started finally going into education because she found an interest by herself naturally. She picked up books, a lot of self-help books. She thought she could read and a lot of psychology books, and she got really interested in the topics. She said that her brain kind of craved more knowledge, wanted to learn a lot, and she thought it was a sign to go to university and learn a high degree in sociology, economics, politics, that degree, because she really wants to be a creative producer someday. And the reason why she chose creative producer is because she really wanted to know the in-depth on what it takes to go into a show, to do creative things, because she loves to create concepts. For example, when she would listen to music, she already has ideas bubbling in her head and she needs to make it into some sort of performance. But the reason why she really wanted to go to university is to learn the technical things that really involve in the process and to know, is it hers? Does she like it? Does she not? And to figure out her whole life. She also did an entrance exam in English, and she said she didn't even practice at all. She knew that she has like the spoken English and it's quite broken into slang, but she didn't try and actively revise the English language. So she passed and she got into the stronger group just through her spoken English. As we know, after Eteri Tutberidze and after the Olympics, the whole situation that happened, she moved to Canada with a different coach. And Laysan says, what was something that really shook you in Canada that you weren't used to? And she said that the people usually on the streets, they would compliment you. They would say, oh, you look really nice. And that kind of shocked her because usually in Russia, you just mind your own business. You don't come to somebody and say, oh, you look really nice. So that really shocked her as well as for about a month, she said that she was in search of the food because they didn't know what kind of food to eat. Then after a month, they found some Russian shop and that was their go-to shop to buy all the ingredients, they had everything. And that's how they kind of started just eating normal food. But solely she went to Canada just for the training. So she only had the ice and home. For the first half, she would go training and just do whatever she needed in that training, the usual stuff like the physical training, the ice, the choreography, the rest, etc. And what was also weird, she said that usually in the ice rings, you've got different borders, But in Canada, there was no borders. You just step onto the ice and that's it. So it was a smaller ice rink in general. After that, for the second half of the day, she would just go home and she would rest and just watch Netflix. So she said she only had that type of journey. She didn't really go out and explore Canada as a tourist. Sometimes with friends, she would go out just to clear her mind out a bit, and that would be before her rest and maybe after her day off.
Понимаю твои амбиции. Ты хочешь стать продюсером и потом создавать какие-то такие вот шоу, которые сейчас создает Авербух.
Я хочу понять, это то ли, чего я хочу именно. Потому что я люблю создавать. Мне интересно делать программы, мне интересно создавать образы. И как-то
делать программу свою, в смысле, вот то, что ты катаешь?
И свою, и иногда вот слышишь музыку, и вот тебя вот так парализует, и ты сидишь такая, надо сделать что-то с этим.
Про тренировки, про жизнь в Канаде поговорим?
Поговорим, почему нет? Это было. Почему
это
бы об
же
этом
другой
не
менталитет, другая страна, вообще все другое.
Много чего другого было, да.
Вот что тебя прям потрясло, типа из серии, да, серьезно, вы шутите, вот так у вас тут устроено все?
Сначала меня потрясло, наверное, самым первым, в самый первый день пребывания там, что люди на улице могут подойти и такие: «Oh, I like your shoes! Where did you get them?» И я такая стою: что вы от меня, что вам нужно? Вам денег дать? Что, у меня ничего нет? Они просто так подходят и говорят: ты такая классная. У меня есть друг, который может подойти на улице к кому-нибудь и сказать: блин, чувак, ты так классно выглядишь. И люди просто округляют глаза, разворачиваются и уходят. И он стоит такой: я же комплимент сделал.
Laysan could not ask her the relationship right now with Eteri Tutberidze, which Evgenia says during the Olympics, of course, there were tensions and after that, but now everything's resolved. They are on good terms, they communicate very well, and Evgenia continues to train at Eteri Tutberidze in the Hrustalny. And she just goes into training and keeps up with her form in terms of figure skating. So she's on good terms with Eteri Tutberidze. She also loves Japan and participates actively in their skating shows. She says that usually it's such an honor to be invited to one of the Japanese shows, because she says that it's usually not in one city that you are in. So it's not just Tokyo. You travel around the whole of Japan and you get to see the different cities, and she really loves it. Laysan asks, which fans do you prefer, the Japanese fans or the Russian fans? Which Evgenia says, well, I am Russian, so it'll be biased, but I do love the Russian fans a lot because of their energy. But the Japanese and the Russians are completely different. Japan really like the skating quality. They like looking at the artistry. They like looking at ballet on ice, the clean lines, the skating in itself. Whereas the Russian fans, they like activity. They like the jumps. They like the cool elements. So it's really hard to tell apart. But the reason why Japan has a lot of popularity, what Evgenia says, is because they just love the sport. They love the aesthetic of figure skating and they romanticize it a lot. Her favorite two cities in Japan is Kyoto and Nagano, which is best known for its fruits, and she just loves the fruits there because they're so different. They're very tropical and completely different to what is in Russia. She says that usually she absolutely loves getting invited by the Japanese shows, and skating there is such an honor and it's a completely different feeling.
Насколько мы все заметили, что японцы очень любят сидеть и просто смотреть, как кто-то просто катается красиво.
Просто катается.
Красивая музыка, красивые платья, то есть эстетика фигурного катания. То есть если у нас больше любят экшен, да, то
вот ты отвечаешь на этот вопрос, да.
Пятерные прыжки.
Короче, нашим болельщикам нужны трюки, они реагируют после трюков, да?
И это неплохо, то есть это просто разные ситуации, да, разные менталитеты, разные страны. Там же в Японии больше ценят именно вот взмах руки.
Красивая девушка едет, это такое искусство.
И придают именно вот дополнительной романтики этому, знаешь, вот. И вот едешь, вот взмахнешь
балет на
рукой.
льду.
Да, и они такие, в зале такой гул пошел.
Ну, приятно, да?
Приятно.
Her most valuable medal is the medal that she first won when she was at the Junior World Championships. It was her first ever time really going to international stage. She was the favourite to go and everybody kind of expected her to win. But before that, she had a really big hip injury that was still really hurting, but she said that she would still be patient and want to go to that international competition because it was her very first one. She didn't want to miss it. So she skated through the pain and got third place. So it isn't one of the best medals that she's got, but it's definitely the most symbolic one because the pain that she endured was a lot. Not only was the coaches not really happy, she wasn't happy about her performance, but looking back at it now, she feels like she says that it was such an achievement to get that medal. In terms of who she looks up to in figure skating, she says she doesn't have one person that she looks up to. She, of course, tries to look up with different spins, the jumping, the skating, but as a whole, she really wanted to create her own style in figure skate. She doesn't want to be known as the copycat of this type of figure skater. She wants the world to know about her skating and create a different style that is her own and that is unique to her. When it is the Summer Olympics, she obviously goes and supports the rhythmic gymnast. And she also supports a lot of the artistic gymnastics because she says that usually in school, there was actually a lot of friends that she had that did artistic gymnastics and she really supports them. They support her during the Winter Olympics and she supports them during the Summer Olympics. In terms of diet, she says that she doesn't really have a strict diet. Sometimes it's off, sometimes it's on. For example, like if she doesn't skate or she doesn't really need to put on this certain amount of weight, she just lets herself loose, just eats whatever she wants. But if she needs to lose weight, she primarily doesn't really eat anything. She jokingly says, I eat nothing. And she says that she can try and force herself to restrict herself if she needs to lose weight. But other than that, it's on and off. Each year is completely different and she doesn't diet all the time. She also feels that she will forever be an athlete because even she says jokingly with her friends, if they agree on this certain time, she will show up exactly that time promptly, whereas her friends will arrive 30 to 40 minutes late. So she will forever be an athlete inside. Once you're an athlete, you never go back because you still have this discipline in you. I really hope you guys enjoy this interview. We really got the chance to look at Evgenia from a different angle and see her as a person rather than just a figure skating and a brand. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah.